Hello again. The Public Utilities Regulatory Commission has reduced marginally the electricity tariff for residential consumers, but no change in the prices paid by lifeline consumers as well as residential consumers within the consumption bracket of 0 to 300 kilowatts. PURC says the tariff reduction of 6.5% should bring some relief to residential consumers within the consumption bracket of 301 kilowatts and above. Here are excerpts of that statement. And it says the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission wishes to inform consumers of electricity and water that there has been a review of the existing tariffs to take effect from April 1st to June 30th, 2024. It continues by saying that the Commission, in undertaking this review, also considered the competitiveness of industries and the general living conditions of the Guinean. Having considered all the underlying factors, the Commission wishes to announce that there will be no change in the electricity tariffs for lifetime consumers as well as for residential consumers within the consumption bracket of 0 to 300 kilowatts. There will, however, be an average reduction in electricity tariffs of 6.56% for residential consumers within the consumption bracket of 301 kilowatts and above. Right, let's get talking and go into the telephone lines and speak to Dr. Kofi Obute. He's the head of research at the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission. Welcome to the program. I want to find out from you what went into these calculations and the subsequent decision.
So thank you for having me, and I hope you're doing well.
I am. Thank you.
Great. The quarterly tariff reviews are hinged on four decisions. Basically, the exchange rate, the inflation, the generation mix, and the fuel price. Okay. The last time when we did the tariff, the exchange rate, and if you look at the generation mix, we used 33% for hydro and then 68% for thermal. Now this time around, we're using 35% hydro and 65% thermal. The inflation rate has also dropped. The last time we used about 40% for inflation. This time around we are using about 28%. So all these parameters have seen a downward trend. The gas price that we used the last time has not changed from the one that we are using now. So these factors have aided the tariff to be reduced.
Okay. What is peculiar is that you did not, effect the same reduction for lifeline consumers. First of all, who qualifies to be a lifeline consumer, and why didn't you effect that change on them as well?
Well, for lifeline consumer, you should be consuming between 0 and 30 kilowatt hours of electricity every month. Once you go beyond the 30 kilowatt hours, you are no longer a lifeliner. Now, the lifeliners are already being subsidized and compensated. So, in the wisdom of the commissioners, this time around, if there's any gain, other consumers in the consumption bracket should also benefit from the gains that are accrued.
And do we know the number of people that fall within this bracket?
Of the lifeliners?
Yes.
The lifeliners are under 1 million. They're about 700 or so thousand.
And then will the public really benefit from this, since majority are likely to fall outside this bracket?
Yes, the public is likely to benefit from it, because if you take the Ghanaian community, you realize that most people live in what we call multiple dwellings. In Ghana, we call it compound houses. And if you put their consumption together, they are in the bracket of 300 and above. Most of them are on a single meter. If you put all their consumption in a household together, they are over 300 kilowatt hours. So this reduction of 6.56% will really bring about a relief to those people in that particular category.
A lot of concerns have been raised about who qualifies to be a lifeline consumer. For example, if I stay alone, what items do I need to have in my house to be able to, classify it as a lifeline consumer?
For lifeliner, you should be using, let's say, 3 LED bulbs for about 8 hours in a month. And for about, then you use 75 watts for about 4 hours a day for 30 days. you use one TV, you use, let's say, one iron, you iron for about 4 hours in a month. So basically, just to cater for the poorest of the poor in the society, those who cannot really afford anything at all. That's what the lifeline is supposed to cover.
And looking at the figures, it means that a lot of people, have much more than just a bulb in your room. That means, very few people fall within the lifeline bracket, right?
Well, if you go to the rural areas, you realize that a lot more people fall in the lifeline bracket. If you take some of these rural communities, especially in the northern sector of the country, most people fall in the lifeline bracket. People use less than just a bulb in their room.
Okay.
People don't even iron at all. So those people fall in the lifeline bracket.
We know that you've been doing a quarterly review of tariffs. Does that mean that going forward you're going to peg it against inflation and other prices on the market to see whether you're going to increase or reduce electricity and water prices?
Well, those are the factors which are not controlled by the service provider. They are beyond the reach of the utility service provider. The utility service provider does not have control over it. They don't have control over inflation.
Okay.
So these are the factors that we consider, because those ones, they don't have control over it. If you take the gas price, they don't have control over the gas price. So for a quarterly review, these are the factors that we look at.
Okay, thank you very much for your time this morning.